Welkom, dames en heren, bij AGORA. Tweede uitzending in het nieuwe seizoen met twee zeer bijzondere gasten. Twee, naar mijn mening, zeer talentvolle jonge, want ze zijn nog jonger dan ik, jonge filmmakers. En van de een gaat de film binnenkort in première in Utrecht en van de ander hopelijk in december in Rotterdam. Ik heb weer geen gedicht meegenomen deze keer, maar voor de liefhebbers zal ik de volgende keer goed maken, dat beloof ik. Mijn gasten zijn Mahoud Massad en Sami Shekkes. Welkom, beste mensen. En nice to have you here. Oh ja, dat ben ik vergeten even te zeggen, we gaan het gesprek in het Engels doen. Ondertitelaar gaat vanzelf lopen, maar voornamelijk in uw eigen geest. We have to do this conversation in English.
Yes.
Or
That's
Arab.
good.
Or Arab. We can also talk Arab, maybe.
Best.
Yeah. Welcome in my show.
Thank you.
It's for me a little bit complicated because you are two different filmmakers. You have made two different films. The good thing though is that you know each other since a year, and so you can maybe reflect on each other's work as well. What I would like to know, Mahmoud, where you're from and where you live.
I'm from Jordan.
Yeah.
And I live in Utrecht since 4 years almost.
Yeah.
And since I started to work in TV Utrecht. TV Utrecht, Start TV Utrecht, and I work as cameraman and doing some programs, but later on I quit because it just wasn't news, not really making programs or making more than news. And later I quit with TV. I go to work in photography because I couldn't work with film.
Making photos yourself?
More making photos, and made some exhibition in Utrecht and Amsterdam.
But what kind of photos? Artistic photos?
Yeah, more artistic photos.
Not marriages.
No. Just more
couples.
free work photos. And later on, I started to make short films and short things.
Is that something? Did you have an education in Jordan for that?
Yeah, I had some education, but for film, but it wasn't just for a year and a half, and then I continue in other country study film. But most places I studied there. I quit study and then go work in film or work in company for film.
Because that's really what you want to do, huh? What you're doing now, making films, is really your
this
deep
my
felt
this is my goal, and this I wish I can go in it.
And did you have that already as a child, when you were a little child, that you're always going to cinemas, theaters, or? Yeah.
Since I was, let's say, 15, 16 years old, it was so difficult to me what I want to be or to choose. But since then, of course, this belonged to my parents also. They work with the TV, and my father worked in photography and TV as well. My uncle as well worked in cameraman TV in Amman. And since then, I was stuck going with him to watch some program and the work he's done. And since then, I stuck to work. This work, or I like to do things with film.
Yeah. And did you said you started at Televisie Utrecht?
Yeah, I started in TV
local TV station. But then you didn't follow a further education. You didn't go. Did you want to go to the film academy?
Yeah, I tried to go to a film academy, but it was so expensive for me to cover the cost. And later on, I was more than or older than 27.
Oh,
so it's not allowed to. I don't know. It wasn't. Of course, maybe I could study that, but I have to pay all my costs.
Then you don't get any costs.
Exactly. I don't get any subsidy for study.
And do you regret it that you haven't been to the film academy, or do you say now you made your first real film, so that I don't need them?
It's not about that. I don't need them, but I'm really happy that what I'm doing now, and I'm making my own project.
Okay.
Of course, I love to study and to continue, especially with film, but I couldn't. And now I'm making my first project, and it's a dream to make it or to finish it.
Yeah.
حسن كل يوم يروح البحر ليصيد سمك، وكان يرجع كل يوم بسمك كبير للعشاء، وكانت أمه
Give me 5 seconds for the camera.
هذا العصر والأوان ولد اسمه الشاطر حسن. وكان ساكن هو وأمه ببيت صغير، وكان يحب أمه كتير وكان يساعدها بشغل البيت. وكان الشاطر حسن كل يوم يروح على البحر ليصيد سمك، وكان يرجع كل يوم بسمك كبير للعشاء.
A little bit the same question of you. You're from Syria.
Yes.
You came to Holland 10 years ago.
10 years ago.
Yeah. Did you want to go to the film academy?
Well, I was in the Rietveld Academy, and that
Yeah.
was a different. You know, when I start, it wasn't really very directly to cinema, let's say.
No,
in that
it's
sense.
more. It's the
It
visual.
was, yeah, it was. You know, I had a slide presentation to get inside the Rietveld school, and also the same things, pictures, and so that was at that time. I did not, let's say, think about it as a Rietveld and Film Academy on that two different places.
Yeah.
I met somebody who was in the Rietveld, and he said, "Why don't you try?" And then I went there, and then goes through there. So.
No, but but that's not really an answer to my question. Did you? I mean, you went to the Rietveld Academy, but did you want to go to the Film Academy?
Yes, partly, but it was after I did the Rietveld was about 3-4 years, because I had then started a little bit of problem with the Rietveld.
Mm.
So
everybody has.
Well, not in that
point,
sense, you know. I explained to you that I had in that. So in that time there was the idea suggested from the Rietveld Academy to go to the Film Academy, because they say, well, that's what we think you should go. Yeah. But the idea from the beginning, so even though I apply, but to start, you know, I wanted actually, if it's possible, that to use the years I use in the Rietveld, and to try not to start from zero again. Mm-hmm. But I know it make no sense, you know, because I think Film Academy or Rietveld, they have totally different ways. So you should start from zero. It's different institution, different way. But I apply, but then it wasn't possible, and then it was okay.
The same question as well. In your youth, were you already very much interested when you lived in Syria? Did you do a kind of film academy there? Were your parents into the film industry like his parents?
No,
were?
I think I'm totally in the other spectrum. Let's say. So I was. I come from, let's say, very mathematic background. So science in the study, and then civil engineer university. So, but sometimes I recall those moments, you know, where does this start actually? Mm-hmm. You know, I told you that I have sometimes few things to do it during the beginning primary school in a theater work, organizing kind of plays and acting with it sometimes. But it's more as, you know, it's part of event of the school that you know, you organize things and you do that more that as a pleasure, more that I cannot say that. You know, when I was 8, my father gave me an 8mm.
No, right. I
have no. This
he took me every night to the cinema.
No, I have. Even though I have a brother who used to take me to cinema, you know, with all this kind of Western that you go out from there and you start fighting on the street. You make a.
Little kids are all over over the world the same. They want to play cowboys and Indians.
Yes, it's something like that.
That's
so
funny, actually.
That's my connection with.
Okay, but then you came here, and you live in Amsterdam. You live in Utrecht. Why is that actually? Because it's not long distance, but I always think that everybody wants to live in Amsterdam. Mahmoud, why are you living in Utrecht?
I don't know. Of course, I like to come to live in Amsterdam, but
then you can see the station.
Yes, and normally I come every day to Amsterdam, mostly every day, and I'm really a bit tired of it because I go back late train, take a long time. But I think now what I'm doing now, I have a lot of things belong to Utrecht. The film I'm busy with, it's in Utrecht, and people I work with, it's in Utrecht, and the place. Most of the things I have to do in Utrecht, but I hope when I finish, maybe I move to Amsterdam.
No, what I actually meant to ask is was it a coincidence when you came to Holland that you came to live? You choose to be in Utrecht.
Yeah, it was a coincidence. Okay. Not really like chosen to be in Utrecht.
For you, Sami, was it a how do you say, a conscious decision taken? I want to go to Amsterdam.
I think so. Yeah.
Why was that? What was?
Well, they said Amsterdam beautiful at night. So
beautiful at night.
So I came, and then it was not
Did you came at night as well?
Yes.
When you came in, or was it night? Yeah.
I came on my birthday, so
Yeah. And did you think it was nice?
Absolutely.
And you didn't know anybody here when you came, huh?
Nobody at all.
Wow. And maybe because there's also a little bit of theme in your film. It's about communication in all its whiteness, as I put it now. But when we had the discussion a little earlier, then you said actually that was very good for you to be here all alone, because it made you it was a kind of challenge to communicate. Communicate or die, something like that.
Not on that, let's say. I meant that when you asked me about do I know immediately a Syrian or an Arab community on the time I came, and I did not know that. No. And there was become that reference that I can't say if it's good or bad, but you feel that later on that you have to communicate with the people you are in, more than finding an Arab people or a community, let's say, where you just happen to belong before you arrive here. Wow. And that's what I meant in that sense. Whether it was good or bad, I don't know really.
No, okay. Mahmoud, how was it for you? Did you know people here when you came here to Utrecht?
Actually, this may be the first country I've been. I don't know anybody here.
Even you didn't know
all
anybody?
Holland.
No.
Later, yes, but the beginning, no. Instead, in other place, other country, yes.
I mean, I come from a very small province up in the north, and I went to Amsterdam, and I didn't know anybody in Amsterdam. Only a very fake old girlfriend for somewhere, but she didn't want to see me anymore, so I didn't know anybody. But did you have? I had difficulties in the beginning. I mean, even I had difficulties living in a big city. I came from a very small village. But did you have difficulties? Was it a difficult
really
time?
So difficult. Yeah. I mean, just to stay in place, you don't know anybody, and.
But then you bought a camera, and then you.
I started to work, and I think the only thing I could do now, let's say, making photography, work with photography, and then I start to get contact through my work, and later on I start with film, because even when I said I can't make film, I want to work with film, people thought I just want to make it as hobby or something.
Let's talk a little bit about your film. Well, maybe, but I mean, I can tell it all, but I would like you to tell something about it. It is based on an old story that has been told to many children in the Arab countries, I would say. What is the story about? And how did you make it? I mean, it's first a fairy tale. Where's the fairy tale about?
Okay, the idea, I got it since 4 years ago. I've been walking the street very late, 4 o'clock at night, and I heard this sound. I heard this Arabic music. I don't know. First, I thought it's maybe music from a house or something, but it looked real, more live music. So I was walking around in tiny street, and then I found this person was playing flute, and then I started to talk with him. Yeah, of course he speaks Arabic. He's from Morocco. And
and when did you make the combination with this fairy tale that was told you when you were a little boy?
I had, when I asked him about his name, he said my name is Hassan. So I've been laughing because Hassan, it's let's say, it's a good example of this story. It's called Slim Hassan or Hassan the Smart. And since then I had this combination. I was like saying, it makes link for me that the story of Shatter Hassan or Hassan the Smart with this guy.
But can you tell a little bit about that story for the non-Arabic grown people that?
Let's say if I want to talk about myself, I had it when I was little. I mean, I heard about Shatter Hassan, and when we were little, I mean, if you've done something good, there will be, instead to applause for you, they will say to you, Slim Hassan or Shatter Hassan.
Shatter Hassan.
Yes, and since I met this person, I had this idea to make the story, but it was really simple to make it. But then I developed it and I work with it.
Then the symbol was in it that because Shatter Hassan in the fairy tale or in the story is going to marry the princess, And this Hassan you met on the street at 4 o'clock at night was a junkie.
Yes, he's a junkie. He lived in the street. And he's
so
the opposite here of Hassan.
Right.
He's the opposite person.
Right.
Instead to be.
What do you wanna say with it? That don't believe in fairy tales because we're all gonna add them junkies?
No, definitely not. But it just the theme of the idea or the story. It talked maybe about the past period of Arab time when they were living, let's say maybe 1500 ago, years ago, or 2000 ago. And that time I just compared to this time, and I wonder, of course, like me, I mean, first it reflects myself.
Yeah.
Why I'm leaving my country, why I'm just want to come to Europe or to be foreign in other land.
To find a princess, of course.
Yeah, of course everybody has his goal and has his dream. I mean, of course I'm not coming here to live in the street.
No.
And even if I want to think one day I will be in the street, I wouldn't come before.
A question in between, did this man that you talked with and you made a film with him, he is playing himself actually in this
he's
film.
playing himself. Yeah.
And quite well, as we can see a little later.
Yeah.
Did he know the story of Shatter Hassan? In Morocco, do they know the story there?
Yeah, some, especially in, let's say, in Africa, let's say they don't know it really as much as Middle East.
No.
Egypt, they know it. Tunis, Egypt, the most of Middle East, they know it. Even in Iran, I heard about that they know it.
But he didn't know the story, but did he like the story?
You know, unfortunately, Hassan, he never asked me what I'm doing.
No? He never said what the hell I'm doing.
Yeah, he knows that I'm making something about him, of course. And sometimes he said, let's make it like that way or that way. And really, I mean, after a year or 2 years and a half, he understands things, and sometimes he gives his opinion about.
Yeah.
Even sometimes talk to the reflection or the light, or do the light like that, or do it like that. And really, sometimes I'm impressed.
And he's still alive, and you just finished the film?
Yeah, I mean, since I started till now, he's still the same. Nothing changed with him.
Yeah.
Of course, just bad things, or more his life getting hard and hard.
Yeah,
he's living in the street.
Because he looks like quite an older junkie.
Yeah,
and that's.
But if you see him, it just like 3 years ago, he would really look young. And since he started.
You told me that it was very difficult to get this film done because you had to invest all of your own money in it because you didn't find any subsidies, etc.
No. In the beginning, no, but I mean this year, yes.
So now you got some money to finish the film. So, Sami, how's that for you? Your film is, I would say, quite different. It has actually nothing to do with a fairy tale.
No.
Maybe you should tell something about the film first, because it's called Absolve.
Absolve, yeah.
It will be in premiere in Utrecht the end of this month. Absolve means actually something religious.
Relief.
Relief.
The word, let's say, the word coming is like to set free, to take, if you have blame or guilt, to set you free, to relieve, let's say, the pain you have, if you have burden of all this. Has to do with relief, let's say. And normally it's much relative to church, let's say, situation that you go and the priest absolve you or relieve you, let's say. Yeah. So you see, relieve you from pain or whatever, from sin. Actually, normally it comes like you feel guilt. Yeah,
but you've made quite a as we will see as well, some beautiful. Photographic work, camera work, in grey tones almost, but the content of it all it's I think quite intellectual story. What is the essence of that story?
I think it's about, let's say, it's communication in modern time. That was, let's say, the starting point in how the way we use technology in communication, and let's say the story, the real line of the story where does the story start? I know somebody who lost her brother by a suicide attempt, and which left so much to bear and little to say, and then become the communication word. If you have a lot to put, and so little to say, actually. Yeah. Which channel you use on those days where you are full of channels around you to communicate. You can talk to Australia, you can send, all this kind of thing.
You can send SMS, you can email.
You can do, and I can't say that this is how the things all start, because actually it's much more later when you start to compare all this element together, and you said, well, this is maybe, it goes in this way, even through the editing, through much later stages, even in sound. You start to define really the theme of the, before I had something to start and then I shot something and then I edited. So finding the real theme you are interested in, and that's why it was a long period. If it was something very short, and you do it, it's difficult to stick to it for 3 years. But for me, it was also a period to define the themes, to go in and out with it and put it back. And so I'm really lucky that I have material which kept me interest for at least till the time it's ready. But
you added as well the dimension of as you described it, that in the development of human beings, that it might well be so that because of we have all this technology to use for communication, that there is kind of change in the human nature.
Whatever nature or whatever human is today.
Whatever nature or human culture or nature, and that it also can stand in between when we do have real physical contact.
Yes, there's, you see it clear in the movie that there's sometimes, even in the way it's been edited later or during the dialogue, there's always interruption, there's always disturbance. It doesn't happen normally
in a normal
physical conversation,
like the scene with the guy
calling and then left out, and also with the way it's been put together somehow, is that you are really hardly with the person, body and mind at the same time. You start to become more and more, and not to say related to certain technology things, but I just have a fear that in time, maybe it will be difficult to concentrate, just as to combine these two things together. And, it's not like if we don't use this, we become more human, or if we, it's not about, it's mostly
not about
that
good or bad
no,
or
no,
whatever.
Not at all. Is that you feel that your ability to concentrate is declining somehow, and you don't know why. You don't know how. Maybe it's totally, non-relative things. I don't know. But you feel like you have this feel like what's happening. Why I can't concentrate with this person. And even I switch my mobile off or I switch my screen off, and I really want to be soul and body with this person, but it's not working.
And let's see what the last news is.
I said sometimes even your decision to be with the person in time will be altered by your ability, which means supposed to be declining through not exercise, let's say. The idea when I tell you about the bacteria and the antibiotics, so, the more you add, maybe
against the bacteria, and then
the more but at a certain point your own resistance is very, very little. So I thought that instead of you developing your own resistance, even trying to find out really what is it, what is that things that change, I don't know really. But I feel sometimes like what you mentioned is that maybe communication could grow out of discomfort.
I think you have a good point in the case of the concentration, that it's very difficult to concentrate on the other person as the other person is. Last week I was talking to a friend of mine, and she's an artist from Spain, and suddenly I noticed how she was looking at me, and it was in a very concentrated way, and it almost scared me. So I thought, hey,
that's something I'm not used to.
That's something I'm not used to, and that might so have to do something with the theme you are describing in your film. Your film is 13 minutes. It will be shown in Utrecht, which is quite. Do you consider it as an honor?
Yes, I think so.
Yeah. And it will be shown twice there, and then afterwards you're not sure if it will be on television, but
of course I hope
the way it looks, it's Do you expect to get money afterwards, that it will be easier to get money for another film project?
Well, that's the hope, of course. In the way, I say that you want to go on, you want to make something else, and you feel like instead of saying like I can do, you say that, well, I have done, and then you move on to next. So I hope it will be easier, let's say.
Because Mahmoud, for you, only the last year you got some money, and it was very difficult in the beginning to make the whole production possible.
Yeah, I mean,
you have to wait till December to see if Rotterdam will accept it, of course. But it's the same for you, that you hope with this film that it will be a breakthrough, and then it will be easy to get money.
Yeah, and that's the one reason I'm making this film, just to prove myself what can I do.
Yeah.
Because most of the time when I got ordered to do short things, it's just like order, you have to do this or that. It's like reporting or documentary.
Right.
So I can't really put my style in it. Right. But this first time I could write things and make it myself and present it as this is the way I can do things, or I can do film.
Do you have the feeling, one way or the other, that it's more difficult for you, being a foreigner in this country, to make a film?
Definitely. I think for me, if for Dutch, let's say, or for somebody living in different country, it's gonna be like 10 times double, really.
10 times double as difficult.
Yeah, because first I don't know people. I don't have a lot of. You don't know the language, of course. Yeah, I know it somehow, but not really. You don't know the contact. You don't know. I mean, you just came from other planet.
But
and
do you think I have the feeling now, and some of you might respond on that as well. We are more or less now in a what you can call a multicultural wave. That if you look at literature, there will be book be published now from young writers from other cultures. There will even be a book in October or November about really about all kinds of people that are from other countries and live in Holland and that write about that. So there is a kind of wave going on. Do you see that it's going on, and do you think it's possible to profit from that wave, or is it more into the literature and theater
I think
and not in the film industry?
No, but same way. I've been like here 2-3 years ago. I know there's really a lot of money, or huge money, for multicultural things, and I really apply synopsis and subsidy for those people. Even I know really people work there, and they said, yes, we have money, but you have. I mean, don't tell anybody that I told you there is money.
Ah, okay.
Really, and then I did get. You know, what's make me a little bit confused, because when I sent the story and synopsis, they like it, and they said, wow, that's really interesting. Sound good.
And it's always very difficult to find out why they don't give you money.
And then later they said,
the door is closed and sorry, etc.
Yes, some they said we're supposed to get 40 million this year, we got 4, so sorry. And they let you wait, you know.
Yeah.
And that's
time.
why, long time, and then you think, okay, I will go for it. Even this year, I mean, the subsidy I got, it's like 15%. It's not really like, oh, take it.
No. Difficult.
So difficult.
Sami, what is your experience?
Well, I did apply, after, let's say, actually for, I worked, and without the crew and without the people who work with me, this won't be able to happen. So there's tremendous amount of investment, but not from any subsidy.
Not at all.
Not at all.
You paid it for you by yourself. And the voluntary
and the voluntary, of course, which very, very important. And later stage, I did apply for film. They call it afwerking subsidy, like you finish the project, and they did not accept it. So I had to wait another year, work normally, make money, and finish the film.
Do you get very frustrated then, and mad even, that you think, well, my God, what's going on here?
I mean, of course, you don't get, but when you. It's bad. Somehow it's bad energy, and when you work in film, the one thing you don't want to get as a director or writer or wherever you are, it's a bad energy. Yeah. So as much as possible, you know that you have to work another year, whatever it is, but you have to get out of it. Yeah. If you keep it on and you go on totally in the direction to fight why I don't, which
then
you don't
have any creative energy.
You have a different
left.
film then.
You don't have any creative energy anymore for the film.
It's of course, it's struggling. You're always struggle making film. It's not a problem. Even if you get subsidy, you have another problem on this. But like what he mentioned, what you said about, there is multicultural things open, and sometimes then I look to my film and I can't tell you, maybe I cannot relate it to that multicultural open, maybe I am, let's say, from Syria, which I live here, but the film itself, I don't say it doesn't goes that. So I'm not
more with you actually.
Your theme is more
he
has a
in
fairy
the Dutch
tale
society.
It is.
for me, I have extremely.
For you, it's not even placed in.
It's in North Europe, so nothing to do with with Arabic or multicultural.
When I looked at it, there's some beautiful scenes, and it reminded me a lot of Kieslowski, but in a much more modern state, but nevertheless the same grayness and beautiful depressive area. Something.
The thing is that this. Film is 13 minutes. It's been shot in Holland, and those places they are existing around your corner. They are not somewhere in Poland or.
No,
and I like the idea that you can, you can go to see a different, even as a different, different space.
Yeah,
you come inside the film space, and about Kieslowski, because I think that more or less the subject, it's individual. It's about that woman, let's say, and it is about people who, let's say, there's a lot of happening but little to say. Let's say, so maybe that I can say that the relevance in these two issues that there's in the film actually there's, let's say, really very little. Sometimes they ask me in the festival to write the dialogue or something. It's less than a page. There's very little said. There's nothing much said.
No.
So there's a lot of
and it's English spoken, so it could also be in Norway or in Sweden or in
that's
England.
also another things that we talk is that you have a feeling like to decide about language, what the film have to be spoken with. Let's say before you start, and I thought when I told you that it will be nice if there was a time where there is one single conversation which is Dutch. I said I'm always interested on. Foreign people speak different language, but they are a different body. That's very, very important for me.
Because then they have to go communicate.
Over the
borders.
Have to speak. Even they don't know the language, but they have to speak. So whatever they came up is fine. So I know from the beginning that I have planned that they should not speak their original language. It's not about being shot in Holland or anything. But I thought it will add something extra if there was somewhere a certain small dialogue between two, just a bank scene or something between two in Dutch. Which means not because I live or I make film Dutch, but you feel that you feel that there is another language in the film. But then I thought about subtitling and all things, and I thought
the expenses that
will be more to print and all this. So I said, okay, maybe another film.
Okay, maybe the other film where the big subsidies will come in, etc. What I would like to ask you both is, what about the future? What is Mahmoud Assad doing in 10 years? Where do you live? Are you very happy, or are you still struggling, or are you
are
you still working in the pizzeria in Utrecht at the Oude Gracht? Or?
Yes, I hope. I'm not gonna be with Hassan on the street.
No.
Yeah, of course I hope to continue my work. Of course I have a few or some stories, and I really like to do it. And especially in Holland, it's belong to Dutch things.
Okay, that's exactly what I want to ask, because I can also very much imagine that you want to go to America or to England or to. You want to stay in Holland?
It depends. In 10 years? It depends. If I will stay like that, no, I wouldn't stay. Struggle like that. I mean, I've done my best to present a little bit myself. I don't want to say, okay, that's it. I've done, of course. Life is struggling always. But struggle than struggle sometimes different.
What I don't understand.
I mean, less struggle is different, or less more comfortable to work, more comfortable, not to work. I mean, for me, that experience, I will never do it again in my life. No, really.
No, you won't do it over again.
No.
So after this film, there should be money. If there is no money, then
at least should be well organized, because with this project, I was trying to organize a lot of things and try to get. Of course, I work with crew, with people, but sometimes I'm wasting time to look for people to work with me, so to make the set location or to paint, whatever. So I prefer to do it myself instead to keep for a week, ask somebody come to help me. And many times I just found people late, Oh, I like to do that.
Oh, I come by tomorrow. Yes. Now you have to come afternoon.
Yes, and
that's terrible.
And especially you can't pay them.
No, that's well, you can give them a copy of the film, and then they see
some of them, of course, they are very enthusiastic about to work with it, and some let's go for it, and then next day they didn't show up.
Sami Shekis, what are you doing? 10 years. Yeah. In 10 years. Sami Shakkers is the new Paul Verhoeven in America.
Well, we talk about this America thing. You know, I think.
Do you find America an interesting or inspiring country for
not
filmmaking?
From what I see from outside.
No.
So, you know, not from what I see from outside, from, let's say, the things I can see from here. I can't say anything unless, let's say, unless I'm there. So I only judge from the way I perceive it through media or through... Yeah. Not that I want to pack my bag. You know, I am here and people sometimes go to holiday in New York or whatever and never go. It's not a fascinating place to go. No. Unless if you have to work, I mean, it's something else. Whatever it is, but it is different.
But then in 10 years, still live in Holland, do you think?
I don't know really. I think I told you, I lived, let's say, 20 years, 24 years in Syria. I traveled for 4 years. I lived 10 years in Holland, which, you asked me about home. So I said, even wherever I go, I have lived 10 here or 15 years here. So it will be,
part of your life.
Part of your life. You can't really say, I can't say, well, I will be here. I will be here. It will be based on so many issues than my own will today on this table. But if I wish, I'm...
Like a dream. When in your dream, where are you then in 10 years? Or is that very difficult to say?
I think it's really difficult. Of course, in 10 years, you always have this dream that you want to, you want to have a house on the beach and kids are playing around you, and it's everybody's dream, I think. So. Yeah. On that sense, maybe, but whether it will be in Holland,
but
I think
it depends if it is placed in Damascus or if it's placed in Holland, in Haarlem, back on Zee.
I must say, if it's for the beach, I would prefer in somewhere in the south. If it was, if it's because if there's a kids, then it will place where there's a kids, or if there is for the film, it will place where so many issues play on your, let's say, physical existence, but it's not. I mean, of course you hope always you will be in a place where you feel belonging, and that's I
the
think
most
that will stay all the time.
Okay, what I'm gonna do is tell the audience, the masses, the crowds out there, tell them something about both of your films, and then they will be shown for a part. And then the only thing we can do is to ask people to go to Utrecht. Do you know the date already?
Yes, it's 23 September.
Yeah, what time will your film be shown?
It's 4:15. It's Rembrandt 3.
Rembrandt 3 in Utrecht.
In Utrecht, 23 September, Saturday at 4:15 afternoon.
Okay, that's about Absolve. It's I start talking Dutch now. Het is een 13 minuten durende film. Hij ziet er prachtig uit. En als u dat wilt zien, moet u dus zorgen dat u in Rembrandt 3, zaterdag 23 september,
the film
om 4:15 in Rembrandt 3 in Utrecht.
The film is a part of, let's say, 1 hour program with other 4, I think, short film.
Ja, ik heb hem stukjes uitgezien. U gaat zo meteen ook wat stukjes zien. En volgens mij is het een zeer fascinerende film. De film van Shatter Hassan moet u wel even goed opletten. Want wat u ziet, dat zijn stukjes die gemaakt zijn met een videocamera. Maar het is wel gefilmd op 16 mm. Maar dit was uit, wat u nu te zien krijgt, is uit The Making of Shatter Hassan. Shatter Hassan gaat dus over een slimme Henkie, zou je kunnen zeggen. Een verhaal wat Arabische kindertjes vroeger allemaal gehoord hebben. Over de man die met een prinses ging trouwen. Alleen met deze Shatter Hassan die in Utrecht ook daadwerkelijk leeft als dakloze. Hier is het wat anders mee afgelopen. Maar je weet het nooit. Misschien ontmoeten we allemaal nog eens een keer een prinses. Dank u voor uw aandacht en tot de volgende keer. Dank je.
Thank you.
What's up?
Thank you.
Okay, Sammy. Dag.
Toen ik ben dakloos, ik ben junk of ik ben gebruiken, ik leef met deze fluit. Dat is alles voor mij.
Hey, maar misschien, ik heb wel een adres voor jou.
Ik was daar, ik sta daar fluiten, ik moet er even, als jullie mij geven adres, kom bij mij daar, oké? Tot ziens. Ja.
شوف شيء قدامك بيظهر.
Stop. Okay, perfect. I think it was really good. What do you think, Sami? Okay. I think for one shot is enough. عادل تعال حبيبي تعال فرجيك
Geef me de 5.
No, we have to shoot him closer.
Closer. Now, yeah, the same shot. Closer. If the time is near finish, should go down. I tell you. Like the last four words and saying, just go down before the end of the story.
In the wide shot?
No, close shot. You could have the cut like that? No.
I can, but it's impossible to work with anyone else like this.
I just wanted to stand by and I leave it, then he leave, you know, and then, yeah, like that. Take it just for a while.
No, but we have to follow the focus with her.
Yeah, that's also.
وساعة العصر والأوان ولد اسمه الشاطر حسن، وكان ساكن هو وأمه ببيت صغير، وكان يحب أمه كتير وكان يساعدها بشغل البيت. وكان الشاطر حسن كل يوم يروح على البحر ليصيد سمك، وكان يرجع كل يوم بسمك كبير للعشاء، وكانت أمه تفرح.
Give me 5 seconds for the
سابق العصر والأوان ولد اسمه الشاطر حسن، وكان ساكن هو وأمه ببيت صغير، وكان يحب أمه كتير وكان يساعدها بشغل البيت. وكان الشاطر حسن كل يوم يروح على البحر ليصيد سمك، وكان يرجع كل يوم بسمك كبير للعشاء، وكانت أمه تفرح كتير. وفي يوم من الأيام ما صاد ولا سمكة، فرجع البيت حزين عند
Okay, I'll be there. See you.
Like crazy. Hey, by the way, guess who I saw last night?
Who?
And guess with whom? You'll never believe it, just a minute. Hello, with Daniel. Oh, hi. Fine. How are you? Where are you? Really? No, great. No, it's no problem at all. No, I'll come and pick you up. Okay, I'll see you in a few minutes.
Still no answer?
No. I left him a message on his machine, but I think he started talking in the hotel, and I know him. When he starts talking, he forgets himself, so... I'd like to have a cup of coffee. Would you have one?
I tried to commit suicide.
We can share a taxi if you want.
No, I think I will walk back. And besides, I don't have enough money.
En met nog wat beelden van Mahmoud Massad sluiten we deze AGORA af en gaan we over naar de coverage van IBC. Maar eerst commercials. gaat